suppose someone gives us this little figure right here and says, can you figure out what the angle of Q is? What is its measure? So I want to find the measure for Q. Well, I don't know a lot of stuff. I know that the measure of this angle P seems to be x degrees, but x is an unknown. But I do know that the angle of this R has measure 28 degrees. Is there any way to use that information? But wait, there's one more thing that we know. Namely, we know that this side, PR, is congruent to this side, QR, because they're marked this way. So since these are congruent, I know this is an isosceles triangle, and by the isosceles triangle theorem, I know that the opposite angles, in this case the P and the Q, are going to be congruent. That means they have the same measure. So automatically, I can assert that this angle Q has measure x degrees. And why? Because we're told that angle P has measure x degrees. Well, how am I going to find x? Well, I know that the sum of all the measures of all the angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. So if I take 180 degrees, I know that's going to equal the sum of the measures of all these, which is x plus x, that's 2x plus 28. And so if I subtract 28 from both sides, I see that 152 equals 2x. And if I divide both sides by 2, I see that x equals 76. And so in the context of our problem, I see that the measure of angle Q is 76 degrees. Notice how we're using all the properties of isosceles triangles. Let's try another one. Here we get a different scenario, a different picture. And the question now is to find the measure of angle C. Now, all we know is that this measure is apparently 3x degrees. We're told that the measure of angle B is x plus 44 degrees, and that AB is congruent to AC, because they're marked that way. Well, wait a minute. If these two sides are congruent, then I know this is an isosceles triangle. If it's an isosceles triangle, I know that the opposite angles are going to be equal. So those are equal. So in fact, I know for certain I can set x plus 44, the measure of that angle, equal to the measure of the angle C, which is 3x. And now I can solve for x. If I bring the x over, I see 2x equals 44. And so x equals 22. And here's an opportunity where we jump up and down and say, yes, we're done, we're done. But we're not. We have to understand what the original question asked. It said, find the measure of angle C. That's not x. Notice it's 3 times x. So we have to be really cautious and say that our answer is actually 3x, which turns out to be 66. And here the units are degrees. So be careful, make sure we're answering the question that people are asking.